These are the plaintiffs, Michael Heaney and Philip Hall. They say they gave the defendant money for an apartment they were going to rent with another woman. And at the last minute, the woman backed out. They asked the defendant for their money back due to the circumstances and their inability to afford the place on their own. And well, you can guess what his answer was, because here they are today in court. They're suing for $2,100, the amount they're due. This is the defendant, Stefan Geisel. He says his house is still empty. These plaintiffs have cost him thousands of dollars, and he's not about to return anything to them because they're in the wrong. Simply put, the plaintiffs backed out of the deal, and sometimes you just have to take your lumps and move on. He is accused of being stingy.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Michael Heaney and Philip Hall, you are suing Stefan Geisel?
Yes.
For $2,100, a security deposit that you gave him that he refuses to return, that you feel you are entitled to have back. Tell me what's going on.
On July 6, 2011, Philip and I and a third party went to Mr. Geisel's house to rent the house. It was $2,100, and it was available for September 1st. We liked the house. It was very nice. We went back the next day, July 7th, and gave Mr. Geisel $2,100 in cash, security deposit, and wrote out a receipt.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the next day, which was Saturday the 8th, our third party backed out.
Why did she back out?
Well, she just said she had money issues, financial problems. I can't come up with the money. And we went back to Mr. Geisel on Sunday, the 9th. He said, "That's too bad. I understand. I would give you back your money, but I already spent it. I had some bills, some oil bills or something, so I spent your money." So we left that day. We said we would see what happens. We'll wait a little while, a week or two, and see what happens. We called him a couple of times during that week after July 9th, just to touch base. Did you rent it? Blah, blah, blah. We went back around 9 or 10 days later, after the 9th. And we brought a friend of ours with us just to look at the place and to talk to Stefan about what was happening. Again, to touch base, but more now in person.
Wait, but you brought a friend to look at the place before. You weren't going to take it.
She was a friend, and she came along for the ride. And her name was Brenda. Unfortunately, the tenants who were in the house refused to let us in. There's a baby sleeping or whatever. You can't come in. Stefan came down, and that's when he said to us, I know you guys like this house, and I think you would be very good tenants here, because the tenants I have now, I don't like. They're giving me problems. So why don't I offer you the house for $1,500, and when you get a third party, we'll bring it back up to 21.
Boy, I would never get a third party then. That's I just can't find anybody to live with. You know?
Thank you.
Our understanding was that it wasn't going to be forever.
But he did say it. We have a witness statement that shows that he said it.
Well, before we got there, so we left that day after he told us, yes, $1,500, so we left. And this is only mid-July. The tenants that were in the house left August 15th.
Do you have pictures of the house?
Yes.
May I see them?
This is our Craigslist ad, and the pictures are here.
Well, his Craigslist ad, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now, so they were leaving the 15th. Did they leave the 15th?
Yes.
Okay. And then,
And
so what
Stefan,
happens between the 15th and the 1st?
Mr. Geisel
wow.
told us that they left.
That's beautiful.
Very nice. Very well kept. Landscape.
Okay, in any event, now bring it forward here. Like, so what happens?
August 16th, we go back.
Okay.
To check the house.
Now that it's empty.
With Stefan.
Okay.
And
so clearly you are taking the house because you keep visiting it, and it's not like
there was a verbal agreement to take it for $1,500.
For $1,500. The problem that we're having here is that, because I know that's going to be a problem, is the dispute about how much you were going to take it for.
Right.
Okay, go on.
just as we're leaving, Philip, who's on disability, gets his check on the 3rd of each month, said to Stefan, you know, we want to pay you the $1,500 on the 3rd if that's okay with you. And then he said, $1,500?
I did say 1,500.
What, are you out of your mind? I'm going to take a $600 loss every month? And I said, but that's what you said, and that's why we're here. We told you a month ago we wouldn't take it for 21. We wanted our money back. Why would we be here saying yes? We're here because you said 1,500. So he said, well, another disagreement, and...
All right, let me hear from you, Mr. Geisel.
The accusations here, I can't believe.
So who's more unreasonable, landlords or tenants?
I believe tenants are more unreasonable.
What do you say?
Because landlords actually have to follow state and federal law.
Fair enough, that's a good point. What do you think?
I think so too.
Because?
Because it's just true.
Because it's just true. Sir?
A lot of times tenants don't follow the rules. It's the landlord's job.
And it's interesting. Are there any landlords here? Anybody? You're a landlord? Okay, well, it's funny enough, the landlords are the ones that say the tenants. Going inside the courtroom.
First of all, they came with the first person with her 21-year-old daughter. And they came back down and told me that they can't live with her here. She demanded too much. And they
so
can't.
According to you, they chose not to have her as...
That's what they told me.
Okay.
And as far as the $1,500 goes, that was a shock to me when they mentioned that to me. Who would be that dumb to do that? I would never agree to something like that. That I stand in for the next $600 for you guys until you find somebody, maybe for never?
I got to say, there's a little bit of
I told them, if I can rent it right away, I'll give you back your security. I would have done it.
If you could rent it right away.
Right.
And what efforts did you make to rent, to continue to try to rent it? Did you keep it on Craigslist?
I had it on Craigslist, and I have a list here also that I gave it to a real estate.
Okay. And then, have you rented it out?
No.
No.
Still empty.
It's still
I lost
vacant.
$8,000, I know, because the people who lived in there before, I asked them, could we break the lease and you guys move out sooner so I can rent it out in the summertime? In the winter, it's hard to rent in the country.
Okay.
So they did find a place, and they moved out on the 15th. So in the meantime, they were calling me and said, I don't see it on the Craigslist anymore. I see it, it's rented. Where's our money? And I said, so they got so mad at me, they said, we're going to take you to court. I said, you can take me to court. I don't have the money. I gave the security, what you gave me, back to the people who...
I understand. Well, but you're saying you have not re-rented it?
No, it's still empty.
Why do you think he's re-rented it?
He hasn't re-rented.
No, I didn't say that.
You
No.
have.
If you think in hindsight, which is always 20/20, if we had been there for $1,500 for the 5 months,
yeah,
he would have $7,500.
But it's the hindsight.
At this point,
it's only in hindsight that someone thinks that. Someone doesn't think that in August. In August, they want the money.
That's why he wanted us there.
Well, apparently not so much, right? Because days before you're going to take possession, he looks at you and says, are you out of your mind? So no, he doesn't, in other words, why would the want be different? At that moment, if he really wanted you there at $1,500, he would just let you in at $1,500.
But a month before, when our friend was there with us...
It would be so good if you had something like that in writing.
Yes.
Yes, right?
That you could have the house for $1,500.
Yes, that would be great.
Never said that.
He said
because
he
here he
said
is, on the precipice of having an empty place for 4 months, standing there on that precipice, and he'd rather take the empty 4 months than your $1,500, which sort of sounds like a guy who never agreed to $1,500, doesn't it? It sort of starts to sound that way. He'd rather have it empty all that. Do you really think you need to interrupt me? He'd rather have it empty all that time than let you have it at a reduced rate. That doesn't sound to me like a guy who 2 weeks earlier gave it to you at a reduced rate. Based on the circumstances of this case, I find in favor of the defendant.
Well, the deposit is a deposit for that reason. Understand?
The man is a thief, and he's a liar.
Anything else?
No. Phil?
He's
Why didn't
a liar.
If he agreed to $1,500 for you two guys,
Which
why
he
didn't
did.
why didn't you get it in writing?
We didn't even think about it. Yeah.
That's the mistake right there.
Yeah.
If you had that, there would be a different story.
Right.
Okay.
But his karma gonna come.
All right.
Your karma will come.
All right, right this way. All right.
Thank you.
All right, so what are you thinking about now as you come out of here?
I had no doubts that the judge will make this decision because they were lying about the $1,500. I can't believe they said that because they even apologized to me after I told them, what makes you think that I would agree to $1,500? Where did you get that from? And they apologized to me after they said, I'm sorry.
The place is still not rented, right?
No.
If it's such a beautiful place and you had all these other people trying to rent it, where are all your other customers?
Cost me $8,000 already, right.
All right, Harvey?
You know, the plaintiff should have sent a confirming email to the defendant confirming that the rent was being lowered. That is, of course, if that's really what the defendant said, and that's questionable. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.